Hello YouTube, it's your girl Cindy. This is my first YouTube channel, so if you guys would like to, please subscribe to this channel, right, for more videos. So I'd like to give a testimony about something that happened to me in 2016, about testimony about how God changed my life, something that the devil meant it for bad, God meant it for good. And I'd like to encourage anybody that's going through this problem that no matter what happens, no matter what is going through your life, God has got you, my sister. God has got you, my brother. It doesn't matter what the devil has intended for you. God is always gonna turn it around for your good. So please don't give up. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to give in. Keep pushing through and keep praying and keep holding on, because God is He always comes in time. He's always on time. All right. So excuse me for my accent. I was born here in America, but I was raised in Ghana for 14 years, and that's where I got my accent from. I just came in 2015 in December. So it started when I came in 2015 in June, and I started high school. During that time, I was very, shy, because I used to think that people were better than me. I used to think that, it's like it was more of like a culture shock. I came here and I just got sent into high school with different, people with all the skin color, your hair, and so it made me feel inferior. It made me feel like I wasn't beautiful enough. It made me feel like I wasn't better. They were better than me. So this problem turned into social anxiety. And there was nothing that I could do about it. Like, I was always scared. Sometimes I would meet school, I would always be crying. I could eat my lunch in the bathroom. I couldn't talk. I couldn't have any conversation with anybody because of how I used to feel. Like, I felt like I was inferior to them. I couldn't speak English better. I couldn't speak English fluently. So my mom was also a home health aide, and she was barely home. So me coming to America and not knowing anything about this country, even though I was born here, and having my mom, go work as a home health aide, so I was the only one in my house. It was very traumatizing for me as a new, person that is coming to a new country. So, I was just doing anything to get by. My mom really didn't give me enough money as I wanted to, even though she was doing her best. But, Africans, they always send, money to Ghana. Like, for African people, you can relate, you'll send money to your parents in Ghana, or you can send your parents money to Africa and stuff. So it got to a point that, my stepdad, my grandfather died, and she had to send, a lot of money. And because she didn't have to budget, she didn't have enough money. She's been sending money to everybody, so she didn't have money at that time. And the money that she was expecting, backslided. And I think, I don't know what happened. She just lost her mind. She just had schizophrenia. And she cracked the bone of she cracked her resident's, her client's hip, right, that she even had to go to the hospital. And luckily for us, the person didn't actually sue my mother. So my mom was rushed to the hospital. And during my social anxiety stage, I couldn't take it anymore. So I told my guidance counselor, I wanted her to tell her about my problems, and they helped me with a social worker. They helped me. They got me a psychologist who happened to be a Nigerian. He was so good. Oh my God, I hope I could see him one day, because he's the reason why I'm here now. I mean, I put in effort too, but he really helped me through most of the problems that I encountered. I feel like God placed him in my life for a reason. And if he hadn't come into my life, if this problem hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been where I am right now. So after the anxiety, I just like that, sorry. So during that problem, I was also reading books, and I started to understand the power of our mind, thinking positive thoughts and thinking negative thoughts, and how to quiet, because I needed some peace in my mind. I was desperate for anything, like I was trying my hardest. I was trying everything that I could ever get to just calm my head, because I was so filled with negative thoughts that even got to the point I was thinking about suicide, because I was so depressed. I was always crying. I thought I was having self-pity. You know, we've all gone through that stage, but it got to the point that it was very unhealthy for me. Like, being stressful was like my body's natural response to everything. So I heard the news that my mom was sick. Fast forward, I heard the news that my mom was sick, but because I had watched videos prior to that, I had watched preachings, I had watched stuff like that. So when I heard it, the first response was for me to cry and feel bad about myself. But then I realized that I'm not gonna feel bad about myself. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna be pitiful about how my life is. You know, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna relax and know that I'm gonna be still and know that God is God. And I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna rejoice in the Lord, for He is gonna be my strength, right? So I didn't do anything in the evening. I prayed about it. I told God that He should turn this situation around for my good. He should change my situation. That I don't know what is gonna happen, but He is gonna be my peace. And you know, when stuff like this, when you hear in a news for like the first time, it's like all the thoughts about, you know, everything that could happen, like the worst thing that could ever happen, keeps mounting into your head, and then it makes you feel like you're about to lose your mind. Because our rent was very low, right? And because I had social anxiety, I couldn't really work, and I was in high school as well. And it's like, you know, all of this, oh, if we lose our apartment, where am I gonna live? And I had only 1 month to finish high school, right? But I couldn't. Like, during that time, I was like, every thought was rushing in. So, and even though I was supposed to be afraid, but for some reason I wasn't afraid. It was like everything. I don't know how, if you all can relate, please put it into just comment down and tell me about your experience when things like this happen to you. So even though everything was crashing down, even though the devil was trying to put in thoughts in my head to scare me, but inside I knew I had the awareness that God has got me. So I wasn't afraid. I was rejoicing in the Lord, knowing that God has got me and He's gonna turn the situation around. So I told my guidance counselors about it, that my mom was sick, and you know, my rent was 2 months late, and they were, you know, I didn't have a place to go. So I told my sister too, who was in Delaware and I was in New Jersey, and you know, we were trying to find a place, like a shelter for me to go. But I was also scared for my mom, that where she was gonna go. So I prayed for her when she was in the hospital, and the day before, like one day, she couldn't really, like, you know, the first day she was just talking about, you know, she didn't actually make sense. But then it's like after I was praying and stuff, said day she could make sense, you know, a little bit, but it wasn't, she could make sense. And then like she came home, she told me that the hospital was good or whatever. But after some time, it's like she came home and, you know, she was fine. And then my teacher, the psychologist, recommended me to, you know, apply for disability, apply for food stamps, you know, stuff to help me with, you know, to provide for my daily necessities. So fast forward to it, one day I was in my psychologist session or whatever, and then I had the eviction. I had a notice in front of my door, and it was 2 weeks notice that they wanted to evict us. And I remember I was sitting in the car, and my psychologist in the car too, when we were looking at the notice, and I was like, oh my God, you know. I was shaking. No. You know, thinking that what is actually gonna happen, you know, where am I gonna go, where am I gonna sleep, how am I gonna finish my high school diploma. It was so, you know, traumatizing. And my psychologist saw me, and he knew that, you know, my life, he knew the problems I was going through at that moment. And then I just, you know, I remember being on my knees, bending down on my knees, and crying to God that, God, please make a way where there seemed to be no way. I don't know how I'm gonna raise $3,000 for my rent, and even if I had decided to get a job, it wasn't gonna be enough to, you know, cater for all the debts that we owed. That God should, you know, create a way. He should make something. He's the only one that could make the impossible possible. That He should surprise me. I remember crying to God, you know, to do something. That was the only thing I was crying. I was crying to Him that, you know, He should. I know you want to go there. So I cried to God, you know. I was very, and I had the faith in Him that He was going to change my situation around. So I told my I have two stepdads, you know, and I told my stepdads about it, and my other stepdad. So I was just there, and one day, and then my counselor came to me and he told me that he told his company about it, and they have decided